Welcome everybody to another installment of the AgriDry webinar videos. My name is Jason, and we're going to go ahead and get started on this week's topic here. We're going to be talking about fall checklists and coming up with fall and getting ready for harvest. Things we need to take into consideration, mainly for the grain spreaders and the bullseye controllers. So as we look into the spreader preseason checks, the following slides are going to be just some kind of pictures of things we might not want to see in our grain spreaders. So this picture obviously shows a fairly decent spreader cleaned out. I mean, it's not plugged too bad. So before we start doing the dumping grain into the bins, we want to make sure that the leveling band and the cones are cleaned out. You can see that the hopper there is pretty free of most of the obstructions there, and then also the leveling band, grain can go through there and it can move up and down. So we want to make sure that the chutes are clean, those tabs are cleaned out as well, of all the beeswax spines and whatnot. This is an example of clogged hoppers. You get a lot of soot and grain that's left over from the year before, and it turns to nasty mold, and we don't like to see that because obviously that wears on the products, and it wears, obviously it's nothing really that pleasant to really deal with. So we want to make sure those are cleaned out after we're done for the year with dumping grain in there. Whether you have to get like a little spade shovel or just anything in there to get down there and tunk that stuff out and get it cleaned out. So that's one thing we want to make sure and check. This picture here shows examples of clogged leveling bands. And what happens is when you get done from the preseason before, and if you haven't cleaned it out or whatever, this is what tends to happen, and it wears down, and that rust and everything else kind of corrodes on those cables, and then it can also fray those cables to the point where they'll break or snap, and then you won't be able to adjust the leveling band properly. So we want to make sure those are cleaned out as well. And there you can see on the left-hand side that it's just completely clogged from the hopper to the leveling band, and that's just something we want to try to avoid at all costs if possible. So also another side note is when you guys are doing maintenance and cleaning stuff out, you want to make sure there's no obstructions, as well as this picture shows. Tools, batteries, or whatever. Make sure all those things are cleaned out, and and also with those chutes, make sure the spreader rotates. If you've got cables in there going around where maybe it doesn't rotate, just make sure that the tabs are all in accordance with how they're supposed to be. And then again, just kind of give you all your preseason checklists and stuff, and on the next few slides you'll see an actual checklist that you guys can kind of go over and see here. But moving on, next thing we want to talk about is the bullseye controller setup. A lot of times, you guys are only going to use this once every harvest, and some of you may not be as fluent with it from day to day. So coming into the pre-harvest season, we want to just kind of go over some things here with that setup. So whether you're going to be drying, moisturizing, or maybe you're coming dry right out of the field and you just want to go into storage mode, we want to get you kind of familiar with how to do those things. Before I go any further, I want to show you, if I may, a link here to our website. If you go to our website at agridryllc.com, this is our home site here. From here, if you scroll down all the way down to the bottom here, you will see a link of videos. All you got to do is click the videos link, and then it'll take you down to all the different videos that we have. Right down here it says AgriDry Bullseye. There's 21 different videos of getting started with a bullseye controller. These are walk-through tutorials, natural air drying without heaters, all sorts of various things here that you can use to get some refresher trainings on how to go through that and set up the bullseye controller. There's also, principles of storage and just a whole host of things. Down here you can see the topic of the week for summer storage, static pressure and grain storage. Again, just a wide variety of those. And then also, there's also videos here, more than just the bullseye controller. There's also videos for grain spreaders, and there's help tutorials on those as well, cleaning them out, and then just use of operations, how they're supposed to work as well. So this chart here, a lot of you guys have probably seen inside your boxes. Most of them have them inside the box. If they've gotten a little worn, we're just going to kind of briefly go through this right now. As far as like corn and soybean, you can see here for the drying mode for natural air or low temp, as far as minimum air temperature, 30 and 90. And then these are just suggested settings, obviously, with the current and target moistures. But then you can see where these things need to be set. If you're in the storage mode, you can go to the right. You'll see the storage mode for winter, spring and fall, and then summer. These are some of the things you just may need to check because, you'll need to double check to make sure that you are in the correct mode for when you're getting ready to store it. So, a good thing to do, a lot of times you can get an idea what your moisture is going into the bin from the combine when you're harvesting or just from our sample tubes or anything like that. So this is just kind of a quick referral check just to see where you're at and how you need to do that as far as settings. And then make sure you're under the temperature controls. The target temperature usually is 45 for drying. And then if you're in storage mode for summer, which we still have a few weeks left, I guess, here for summer, for 55 degrees for storage there. Along with going through the sheet, you can see soybeans are a little bit slightly different, just with maybe some of your minimum and max air temps as far as storage goes, but pretty much everything's the same. This next slide here, some of you may not have in the bins in your bullseye boxes, but this is also another sheet. Now, some of it's hard to read. I can kind of go through with rice. Your minimum max air temperatures for drying are 30 and 90 again. Minimum target temperature and the temperature controls are 45 degrees. If you're storing it for winter, 35 degrees. When you're drying, suggested EMC limit is 3 points if you have a current moisture of 15. And then wheat, minimum and maximum air temperatures are going to be 80 for setting up for bin setup. And then your EMC limit, if you're at a current moisture of 16%, would be about 2.5 with a plus or minus moisture of 0.5. And then also sorghum at the very bottom. You'll see that the minimum and maximum air temperatures are 30 and 80. If you're storing it for spring or fall, you'd be 30 and 60. If you're storing it for summer, 30 and 70. Again, the EMC limits would be about 2.5 if you were at 16 with a target of 14. Grain temperature target would be 45 for drying. And then make sure the UC-EMC values are on as well. Okay, so if you do need a copy of maybe the sheet or something, you would like one, just make sure you call in the office here and speak to one of our office staff here, and we can get you a copy sent out. And some of you may have one, and if you don't, again, just don't hesitate to ask, and we can get a copy of this sent to you guys so you can have this for your records as well. So kind of just what we were already talking about. These are just some kind of things you want to do some pre-harvest checkup for the bullseye bin controller. Obviously, make sure the controller powers up. If you got sufficient power, temperature cables that they're reading accurately. Sometimes you can check it with your farm thermometer on the bin locations. Air temp and humidity is also accurate for outside air temp and humidity. For the bullseye controllers, you want to make sure that those toggle switches that we have that operate the fans, and that they're in the manual or automatic. So sometimes guys will go out there and just flip the switch in the manual just to make sure there's sufficient power and the fans are kicking on in the manual position. And then the bullseye operates fans where in the auto when grain's in there. So those are just some things to make sure. If you have a dryer controller, make sure the moisture sensor is clean and it also reads properly with grain on it. Again, that the basic bullseye controller powers up, and then the dryer sensors are reading accurately as well. If you have our 80-link option for the bullseye controller and dryer, you want to make sure that gateway, that little box is on, the lights are on, and the 80-link modem, is also good to go as well. And another thing to make sure is that your subscription is set up and you are paid, and if you are still using it, that you want to make sure you're good to go for the year. I know some customers have already called in for that, and we appreciate that, just checking in on that. And it's good to have good communication for everybody. And then if you're not sure, again, you can call myself or Glenn here at the office, and we can be more than happy to check to see if everything's good to go for you. With the spreaders, again, like we mentioned in the first part of this, make sure there's no damage to any of the spreader parts. Nothing's bent, nothing looks out of the ordinary. The spreader is still hanging properly on all chutes at the correct angle. That those arms, when you go in and you open up the lid up top of the bin, you make sure that the arms are all connected. That the arms aren't hanging by, it's only hanging by 2 or 3 of the 4 arms. You want to make sure all that's good. That the spreader's also cleaned out from harvest from either last year or before you start this year. And lastly, that the leveling banding chutes are completely empty from grain for FM. So, because we don't want to have any foreign materials, especially the moldy stuff that was in there before. Now, going further with this, we do have an enhanced service agreement that is available. That's available for purchase. As far as if you need us to come out with a service agreement, this would also include, maintenance done to the spreaders, whether it be before or after season as far as harvest, making sure that the spreader's all cleaned out and stuff like that. There's an additional service agreement available. If this is something that interests you, you can call in and get some more information on that as well. And then lastly, we just want to make sure that that you guys are still having good success with the products and that things are working good for you. Again, I know this is kind of short, but we just want to make sure that you guys have some basic checklists for any, before you guys get into the harvest season, because I know things get busy and we get busy here. So we just want to make sure that you guys are all set to go. if you have any questions, please call this number on the screen, 419-459-4399, and then also our website that I just mentioned to you previously, the AgriDryLLC.com. There you can get a whole host of videos as far as tutorials, and if you're still having issues as far as understanding that and comprehending that, please do not hesitate to call in the office and speak with myself or Glenn or maybe somebody else here in the office that can give you some direction and assistance. So with that, I would like to thank you for tuning in. And then, again, if you have any more questions, don't hesitate to call. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you guys next time on the next webinar coming up next week. So thank you. Enjoy.